Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George, or all George. So thanks for tuning in to another market open. We have about 7 minutes before the US markets open. So let's take a look at what's going on today. Specifically, I want to answer, will the market rally continue? Because it does look like we're getting some rockiness right now. There's some volatility. So let's look at what's going on with the markets and what's going on with Bitcoin and crypto. So smash it the like. It's very early, so make sure you smash it the like. Actually, it's not very early. It's just very early for me now. But make sure you hit that notification bell. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and check out all the latest news, article, and guides at CryptosRUs.com. Welcome. Good morning, everyone. And if you happen to be in Europe, this is your lunchtime or noontime, so that's okay. Good afternoon. It's tea time. All right, so we're about 5 minutes, 6 minutes away from U.S. market opens. Dow is barely in the green. Dow and S&P are in the red, but barely. So it's just flat. I think most of you guys know that Thursday is it's going to be a big day. Everyone is looking forward to CPI numbers from CPI number in the U.S. Okay, so it's going to measure inflation, and it's going to be a real market driver in terms of the number that comes out. 7.3% is what analysts are guessing. If we go above that, right, that means inflation is much worse than anticipated. That would be bad. Very, very bad. If it comes in at that or below, that means inflation isn't as bad as anticipated, and it'll be very good for the markets, right? So I think everyone is waiting to see what happens on Thursday. Tomorrow and today, we may just see more of nothingness because people are fearful of what's to come, right? And that's the situation right now. You're seeing, some green, some companies in green, some in red, and it's just like there's no consistency. But when it comes to at least Bitcoin, though, we are seeing consistency. So you can see that Bitcoin is hovering around 43.7. Last night or this morning, it got up as high as 45.5. Okay, so Bitcoin is definitely in rally mode right now. It did dip down a little bit, but if you look at it, it made sense because Bitcoin from a shorter time frame was overbought. So a little healthy retracement. Looks like it wants to climb right back up to 44, right? We will see a lot of the altcoins are still holding their gains from yesterday. So that's very good. So let's see what happens with market opens and what else is going on. And if we could determine if Bitcoin is going to come right back up to 45. And if it does, I mentioned this yesterday. I mean, if it does, we're at, a crucial point right here. This is one of our previous resistances that we're pressed against. If we could break through this and hold, I mean, the next step is 46, right? 46.3, and then the top of it is 51. So if we could break through, get some more short squeezes, we could definitely see Bitcoin in the 50s in no time. Now, speaking of short squeezes, though, or just squeezes overall, I saw that there are still a lot of people that are very greedy. They're still playing with leverage. So unfortunately, we had some long squeezes instead of short squeezes once again. In my opinion, I really wish that exchanges would just get rid of leverage altogether. So take a look at this. Obviously, we have a lot of red here, a lot of the shorts being squeezed, right? Getting wrecked. And unfortunately, you see the green pop up. I mean, that shouldn't be, right? And the only way to get liquidated this fast is by placing like a 100x leverage order. Like, there should be no way that just a simple dip from 45 to 44 should cause 58 million, 57 plus 20. There should be no reason why there should be another $70 million worth of longs liquidated, other than people putting a 50 or 100x, right? That just it infuriates me, right? It just, we were doing good. Then people thought, okay, I got to put in some like crazy leverage plays, because Bitcoin's going up. And unfortunately, when that happens, well, then it doesn't help, right? So we need to see a lot more reds. But unfortunately, we saw some greens pop up, and that just shouldn't be at all. All right, what else is there? Well, there's a couple interesting things I want to talk about for this morning. Market's about to open in 2 minutes. Okay, let's start with Cathie Wood. I saw this. Obviously, you guys know that Facebook had a disastrous quarterly, and it has not been good. It kept going down. In fact, yesterday it went down another 5%. It still shows unchanged because it's about to open, but yesterday it went down another 5%. Aftermarket right now is down 2%. So you can see Facebook getting absolutely crushed, right? And today, Twitter is reporting, and it's funny because Cathie Wood, who's of course big into Bitcoin and Tesla, and several her ARK Innovation ETF, has been very, very, very down over the last few months. But anyways, Cathie Wood decides to sell $142 million worth of Twitter shares ahead of its earnings. So does that indicate something? Does that mean that Twitter is about to fall? But here's the funny thing. Many people thought that Snapchat would have the same fate as Facebook. But Snapchat actually went up like 60% after its earnings because it actually reported a profit. It reported more users. So what does that mean for Twitter, right? Well, I guess we'll have to see. But Cathie Wood is not a fan of Twitter right now, so she's obviously selling off a lot right now before its earnings. What else is there? Peloton. You guys know I have a bike. Haven't used it much. My wife hasn't used it much because she got injured, but not from the Peloton, but in general. So she hasn't used it much. But Peloton has been going up and down recently because horrible earnings report. And then yesterday, there was rumors about how there will be a Nike or Amazon takeover. Today, it looks like it's going to fall even more because they basically said they're going to revamp their C-suite. So the CEO he's stepping down, being replaced. There's a lot of C-level people that's being replaced. They're going to cut about 2,800 jobs. Basically, it's not looking good for Peloton. And most likely, they will get bought out by someone. And interesting enough, Barry McCarthy, who is going to be the new CEO, used to be the CFO of Spotify, and we know right now there's a lot of mixed feelings about Spotify and Joe Rogan. So interesting, just to point that out there. All right, what else is there? This is also very, very interesting. This is the first time I've ever heard anyone use this skyscraper theory about Bitcoin. So you look at this headline, forecaster who called Bitcoin skyscraper top says this company remains the smartest digital fintech play. And he's not talking about Bitcoin as the smartest digital fintech play. But I wanted to see what the skyscraper theory is, or index, okay? And this is what he said. So basically, if you look at it, Skyscraper Index, it's a concept that showed that the world's tallest buildings have risen on the eve of economic downturns. So business cycles and skyscraper construction correlate in such a way that investment in skyscrapers peaks when growth is exhausted and the economy is ready for recession. So according to this person, Staples Center is being renamed as Crypto.com Arena. Big splash, big announcement, a lot of money being thrown out there. So according to him, this is equivalent of skyscraper index because when there's a lot of money being thrown around, right, that's usually when things come down. And if you think about it, I mean, this would correlate with basically with FOMO, right? And also greed. You know, the greed and the fear and greed index. So you could say that, yeah, when there's a lot of greed on top, that's usually when things start coming down, right? So it kind of makes sense, but somehow this is being, you know, correlated with skyscrapers. But I guess it makes sense. Just like, you know, when I said before, when you have a clump of fear, that's usually when things start coming back up. And just like when there's a clump of greed, I guess, when things come back down, right? It's kind of using the same premise, but never heard this before. Just want to share with you guys. But anyways, what he's saying is this. He believes that Bitcoin is not going to actually do well. He, in fact, if you just actually read through the whole thing, and there's a lot that he said, he believes that Bitcoin will actually not do well because we will be going through deflation as a country, not inflation. So he's like, well, if there's inflation and people are still spending money, then it's good for the markets and Bitcoin. But now he believes that we're going to go into a deflation period where people don't spend and they don't invest, and that Bitcoin's going to suffer for it. Interesting take. Obviously, right now we're kind of in that phase where we do have crazy inflation. Fed Chair Powell wants to fix it, right? So is that going to make people spend less? Right, especially as liquidity gets removed from the market, you know. But you know, it's kind of different because liquidity into the Wall Street, into the markets, is different than people. You know, liquidity going into the people and what they do. I mean, there's just I don't know what to think. It's just, you know, there's two sides to it. But right now, I do know that Bitcoin is coming up. That's what I do know. We hit a bottom, right? And we are coming back up. So let's see where this ends up. All right. What else is there? Hey, good morning to everyone that tuned in today. There are some people that are still not used to me streaming very, very early during market open. Let's see. Dow is having a good day right now. NASDAQ and S&P, like basically at zero. What else is there? I saw this. Nvidia, which is obviously a powerhouse. Nvidia is actually worth double Intel. So that's how big they are. And obviously, when it comes to GPUs, they own half the market. I think they actually own more than half the market. The other half belonging to AMD. But they were planning on buying ARM from SoftBank, and this was announced 2 years ago for $40 billion. And it's a big acquisition. But due to regulators and basically, I think they're fearful that it would create some kind of, you know, monopoly over chips. They basically called it off. SoftBank and Nvidia is calling it off. So I don't know what this really means, but Nvidia continues to supply. You know, when I started, just FYI, when I started mining, Litecoin mining back in the day, and when I say back in the day in 2013, 2014, you couldn't mine with Nvidia cards. You could only mine with AMD cards at the time because all the mining software, for script at least, was all geared towards AMD cards. And then shortly afterwards, maybe a few years afterwards, then the software got changed so that it can include NVIDIA, and now NVIDIA cards are the most preferred when it comes to mining. But, you know, because of the popularity of mining, NVIDIA had to implement like some kind of software blocker that makes it so that hash rates go down and that gamers can actually buy the GPUs, but it turned out that was not working at all because people would figure out it's just a software, you know, crack, and people were installing these firmwares that basically removed it like immediately. So it actually didn't do anything. But anyways, I still don't get. I get it, but I still don't get why, as a company that is selling every single GPU out there that they could make, right? Why would they try to alienate like one sector, which is the mining sector? It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But again, I've been told, because gamers are furious and gamers can't buy GPUs and all that stuff. Still, you can't ignore the miners, okay? You can't just implement some software and say, okay, our cards suck for mining now. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. You just want to produce more cards, right? It's a good problem to have. Just produce more cards. That's it. Yeah, Litecoin 7 years ago in 2013-14. I mean, back then, everything was a copy of Bitcoin. You didn't have smart contracts. You didn't have L1s. Litecoin was still mineable using script, and Bitcoin already moved to ASICs. That's why I started with Litecoin, and that was my first like taste of crypto and mining. And unfortunately, in 2014, that's when I exited the market because Litecoin fell from $40 down to like $4. That's when I got out, and then it fell down to as low as $1 before recovering back up. All right, Bitcoin's making some moves. 43.8. Looks like it wants to break back into 44. So that's pretty good. What else is there? The only other crypto news I saw is this. There's a crypto startup, Alchemy, that tops $10 billion in valuation, based in San Francisco. They raised another $200 million. And what's interesting about Alchemy is it's a company that helps others create dApps. So I actually didn't know this, but NBA Top Shots was used NBA Top Shot was using Alchemy, and it built out, I guess, the infrastructure for it. Same thing with Axie Infinity and OpenSea. I mean, these are big names, and they all partner up or utilize Alchemy to build themselves out, right? And now it says Adobe is going to be offering NFTs too with a Photoshop feature, and is working with Alchemy. I don't even know what that means. So Adobe is going to have NFTs, but I guess you could mint your own NFTs through Photoshop? I don't get that. Maybe one click and then it could integrate into OpenSea or something. That would be wild. That's the first time I've heard of that. So yeah, so it's like a company no one's ever used directly, I guess. Interesting. I don't know. I don't know too much about Alchemy. I just don't. But it seems like they're working with some of the biggest dApps out there and helps them create. And now they're helping Adobe create NFTs too. Yeah. It's a certification function. Okay, like Twitter using NFTs as a verification function. I use Photoshop daily, and I've never seen this button before. Cobra Kai says Photoshop had a NFT function for a while. I use it. I mean, I use the latest Photoshop. I never see that. I never see that. So I don't know where you're seeing that from. NYPT, appreciate it. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. A lot of people tuning in right now, waking up. Bitcoin is starting to wake up. Let's look at the entire space. So you have some red. You know, another thing I noticed yesterday, and not trying to scare people, but you know, yesterday was a really good day, right? The entire market was rallying. The crypto market was rallying. But I noticed that Solana did not go up significantly yesterday. And then I also noticed another project called Near that also didn't go up significantly yesterday. And in fact, those two projects are down the most today. So I was wondering why. Look at Near is also down, right? Why are both of these down? Well, the thing is, both of these have a large concentration of VCs behind them. So that's the thing, right? So yesterday night when I was sleeping or about to sleep, I was looking at it. I'm like, everything is up. Like literally everything is up except Solana turned red and Near turned red. So it kind of gave me you know, like a hint or indication that maybe the VCs are still wary about what's coming, especially Thursday, right, with the CPI numbers. So that could be that they're still, you know, they're selling into the rally basically, right? You have heard of some people like Mike Novogratz recently came out and said, sell into the rallies, don't buy the dips, right? And it makes me think that that's what some of these VCs are doing, because I know Near has a large VC concentration. They own VCs own a ton of Near tokens, and the same thing with Solana. So it makes me wonder if that is what they're doing right now. Maybe. Just throwing that out there because I did notice that last night. All right. Finally got you on live. No notification though. You know, I always hear about that. I hear from so many people saying, I don't get notifications. And I don't know why that is. So make sure you want to hit that notification bell. If you have that notification bell, hit already, unhit it, uncheck it, and hit it again. And make sure to follow me on Twitter and Facebook because I post these videos on there so you get extra notified, right? So I don't know what's going on with notifications on YouTube. Sometimes they just don't notify. But all right. I think that's pretty much it what I want to cover. Yeah, last night, if you guys didn't see, I did release a couple new I Am George NFTs. The first one is this, number 16, where I'm a fisherman. But the one that is going crazy right now, so I just want to let you guys know, is the strap-on one. You guys know I love to say strap-on. So I have a special one, a strapped-on one, where I'm strapped onto a rocket heading to the moon. But this one is set in price. There's no auction. So I just set it at a low price, 0.03 ETH, which is under 100 bucks. And there's going to be 1,000 of these running for 2 months. But 140 something already sold. So it is flying off the shelves. So if you are interested in grabbing a special edition I Am George NFT, check it out. It's in the description. All right, guys, I think that's pretty much it. Overall, what's happening is, you know, Bitcoin came down a little bit. It looks like it wants to come right back up to 44 and beyond. If we could crack that 45, you know, 45.5, I believe, then we could definitely head, you know, next step would be 46 and then up to 50. So we're kind of stair-stepping back up like, you know, in reverse of us stair-stepping down. So let's see if we can build some momentum today. But overall, markets today is kind of flat. I think people are just worried. People are just very worried about Thursday. So today, tomorrow, we may not see any movement. Like we're just gonna be flat overall for U.S. markets. But we'll see if Bitcoin can buck that trend. All right, smash the like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in a few hours, 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.